Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope everybody's ready for another busy week. Had some agents call me last week and they're kind of stumbling with their presentation. Went through some of the things that they were doing right, some of the things they need to work on, so I felt it was time to kind of bring it to all of you guys. What ends up happening is that when you're going through a presentation, sometimes a client's going to give you a signal that they want to buy something. So what ends up happening is that you're going to start rushing through the situation because they've indirectly told you, they put their hand up like in a classroom saying, I want to buy. So what happens with all of us, we get a little bit excited. We're tasting a sale. So now what we're going to do, we're going to shortcut, we're going to deviate, or we're going to start talking a little bit faster because we want to get to the end to where we make a sale, to where we can go to another house. Or the client is telling you, I've been wanting to buy something for a long time, and I talked to a friend of mine and he says I should buy something now. It's another, and what we think is a buying signal. Or you may just be speaking with them and they said, Joe, I need it. It's something I've got to have. My cousin just passed away and they had no insurance. So what we don't realize is that we're pre-activating our brain cells to start thinking a sale is right in front of me. So what we have to do is take a soft step backwards, realize that these people are giving us buying signals, which is now going to give us a little bit of confidence to say, let me kind of tap my brakes, let me slow down a little bit to where I can make the sale. I've seen it so many times before. I've gone into houses with agents and they're just talking. Get back in the car and I said, why were you talking about all of this stuff? Why were you talking about all this stuff here? So my recommendation for you guys is to have a little plan of attack on how you're going to do it. The hello at the front door. Where would you like me to sit? I appreciate you sending the card in. Write all this stuff down on how you're going to do your presentations. The warm up, and you're going to go slow. What happens is that when you're young, you think everybody else is young. Okay? When you're old and you're talking like an old person, the young kids are saying, man almighty, why is this old guy talking so slow? He's not hip. Well, we got to think about this now, is that the clientele that we deal with is usually people 55 and over, 65, 70, 75 years old. They've got their wits, they're smart people, yet what happens is that as you get older, all those little processing devices in your brain, for some, start to slow down. So what happens is that we need to kind of sit and think, how can I get the best bang for my buck, especially if I'm buying a lead? What if it's a referral? What if it's a house I'm knocking on next door? If you sit and think, if you were to take your time, pronounce your words more clear, listen to what the people are saying, repeat back the questions that they have, which shows them that you are listening, and it also gives you time to think of an answer. It may take you an additional 5 minutes to make a presentation. Let's say 10 minutes by talking slow. 10 minutes in the scheme of an entire day is nothing, especially if you get your hook and you set it in them and you're tugging on that hook a little bit at a time to make that eventual sale. Rushing is not going to solve everything. Speaking fast is not going to impress them that you're smart. It's not going to impress them that you know all these statistics and the death rates and how many people died here and the cause of death. That can be just a conversation that you tap on, that you're going kind of slow, because people like facts. People want to know that what you're there for is to help them out. talked about this last week, is the 12-inch rule. The 12-inch rule is between the heart and the brain. That heart's got to tell the brain, listen, you can make that payment. The brain's got to tell the heart, this is something we got to have. If I don't have it and something happens, what's going to happen? So by speaking to people slowly, telling them stories that you've heard, either real life stories, stories from another agent, or things that you hear me talk about, when you interject certain things with people, you kind of open their eyes up. I don't know about you guys, but I'd rather hear a story about something that I can relate to than going and reading that same story. I'm going to recommend you guys to start tapping those brakes, start pulling those reins back, to speak a little bit slower, so when you're visiting with somebody, you can adjust to them. Now, you may get a person from, let's say, up north who speaks a little faster. You may have to keep up with them. You visit with somebody that's from the south, those folks normally speak a little slower. So you got to adapt to the client that you're visiting with. If you buy leads, you have no idea where that person's from. You have no idea about them at all. That's why when you go through the warm-up process, what you're doing is that you're gathering information, which is ammunition, to where throughout the actual application process, interview process, when you're going through this with them, you're now doing a process to say, okay, they're from up north, they're talking kind of fast. Should I increase my speed? Should I raise my voice? And that comes with just plain old experience. There's sometimes I've done it and it's worked. Sometimes I haven't done it and it doesn't work. So there's really no cut and dry. This is the way you're supposed to speak to a person. There's no cut and dry thing. That happens when you're in the house. It happens on the signals that they're giving you and what you're feeling. Sometimes you're kind of nervous. Oh my God, this guy's talking kind of fast. I'm not talking fast enough. He's probably not going to buy from me. Oh my God, or he's talking too slow and I'm talking too fast. Just tap those brakes. The most important thing is to learn how to make a presentation. This is why I'm such a strong proponent on asking for referrals that don't cost you anything, or also knocking on the house next door or across the street, because that's called training. That's called on-the-job training, to where you're going to see, I've got no lead cost involved. If I mess up, it's not going to be the end of the world, yet I'm learning. And the most important part, guys, is that when you're going through these training sessions that you do for yourself, is to sit and make notes when you get in the car of what you felt you weren't doing well. Also pays to record yourself when you're in the house, to where when you get in the car or when you get home, you can review what you sound like to see if you're speaking well, if you're using voice inflection when it comes to certain words that you're emphasizing certain things. Are you interrupting that person when they're speaking? When they ask you a question, are you stopping, thinking, analyzing, and then answering? Or do you feel you must give them an answer within 1 second of them closing their mouth? All this comes is with practice. Practice will take you to higher levels. I've been doing this now for 27 years, and I still mess up, guys. I don't care who you talk to, you're going to mess up. You're going to have a bad presentation. You may even have a bad day. Something could have gone wrong at the house. So what we try to do is that when we leave our homes, we try to close that front door and say, okay, this will be here when I get home. Let me get myself into a work mode. You get in the car, you're traveling, you're doing what you got to do. You're listening to music to get yourself excited. You're listening to all these different things, maybe listening to a motivational tape, listening to one of these calls to reiterate what you heard and what we spoke about. When you get out of that car and you close the door, that's my second door. that I'm trying to block out what may be going on at home. Does it happen? Of course it does, guys. We're human. We have issues, not all the time, hopefully. Yet we've got to learn how to separate home from work. And it's also vice versa. When you go out and you have a bad day at the office and nothing goes right and you make a sale, then you get a chargeback, you wouldn't bring that stuff home to your family. They don't want to hear all that stuff there. So that's the hardest part. It's kind of like a fine line. What do you talk about? How do you prevent yourself from bringing work stuff home and home stuff to work? And it comes with just practice. I'm going to ask you guys, when you're talking with a client, for you to try to go a little bit slower. Think about what you're doing. And I have no problem with you having a piece of paper in front of you. Client's not going to look at all that stuff there. They can't read upside down. Have some other notes written off to the side to where it looks kind of, you have a lot of paper notes on there. But you got what you want to do. The hello, you sent this card in. Yes, I did. May I come in? Where would you like me to sit? How is your day going today? The weather's kind of rainy today. Oh my God, the weather's getting cold, it's getting hot. All those little things here. And then just start talking about them. Have you had life insurance before? Again, you said what motivated you to send this in? You don't want your children to be left responsible. Very good. Have you had a policy before? No? Yes? Okay, well, let me see if you qualify for some of one of our programs. Can I ask you some health questions? Yes, I can. Then you go into the presentation on how the programs work. The 5 general questions: fixed face amount, fixed premiums, cash value. Once you get the policy, you cannot be denied. They cannot cancel it because you get sick, and you can change the beneficiaries whenever you want. Those are the 5 things I talk about. Doesn't need to know their health, but you're talking slow. You're drawing them a picture of what's happened. I'm a firm believer to tell the people when I sit down, let me kind of tell you what to expect today on the process of us trying to get you approved with the program. I'm going to tell them every single thing we've got to do. I'm going to ask you personal health questions. I'm going to need some information about you, your medications, your your checking account, savings account, direct express, credit card, however way you're going to pay for it. You can tell all that stuff up front. Going slow. And the nice part about telling them what that they're going to preview and see is that if they don't want to give you that information, you didn't go through your whole presentation and waste your time. You got to find out why. If they don't want to give you their checking account or their savings account information, you didn't get to the end and waste your time. You can address it up front. And a lot of reasons why people do not want to give you information is because they don't feel comfortable with you. You may be speaking too fast. You may not be answering the questions that they've actually asked. You may be too jittery. I can say I'm a little jittery. I like my coffee. Okay? You may not be answering the questions smoothly the way they want. Practice. So these are the things that I recommend you to slow down, knock on the houses next door, ask for referrals that don't cost you anything as a lead cost, to where you can practice to get better. You can practice at home with your wife, your brother. Hey, knock on the door. Stand back 10 feet. How do I sound? Am I coming in too loud? Can you hear what I'm saying? All these things here are making you a better agent to where you can help more families. Because the more families that you help, the more people you speak with, the better opportunity you have to make money. It's the name of the game. It doesn't matter what job you have. It doesn't matter who you work for. It's about being nice, taking care of somebody, providing them a service, offering them a solution, and then at the end, making money. That's what makes the world go round and round. Money, headaches, problems, and just being nice. So, in closing, tap those brakes. Slow down when you're speaking to people. Do not rush the process. Try to stay on a line, okay? Have a little cheat sheet in front of you. Now, you're going to vary left, you're going to vary right every now and then. That's normal. But try not to go all the way from center field to right field and then come back all the way to left field. Kind of stay right around center field, going a little bit left, a little bit right, to where you don't lose their attention. Because what happens is that sale in our mind is more important to us than it is to them. So you need to kind of revisit that and say, what can I do to make this presentation extremely important to them? What information can I offer them? How can I share the information with them? How can I portray that this is something that they need, to where they're saying, I want to buy something from you because you made it sound so good. Okay, guys, hit them hard. We appreciate you. We love you. If you got any questions, you need anything, get with Jay. He'll take care of you. Heather's out today. She went on vacation last week, and she's got a little bit of the flu, or she's got something, so she'll be home today. But if you need her, Jay can patch you into her cell phone. So with that said, hit them hard. Be safe. We love you guys. Bye-bye.